All right, over to Switzerland, Daniel Aeberli. How are you, my friend?
Good morning. I'm very fine. Thank you very much.
Whereabouts are you?
I'm based close to Zurich in Switzerland, so we are like 10 minutes from the airport, pretty much.
Beautiful place. I've been to Switzerland quite a few times with different air sports. Now, behind you there, I can see these, is it Diana 2 copies?
Below that's the Diana 2 copies, and then above is the JS3, and then on top is a Libelle one, a smaller one, and all the way in the back you see a half scale one. Yeah.
So tell me all about Chocofly pilots.
I kind of co-created over the years, you know. My family is a glider family all the way back to my grandfather. My dad also was a real pilot and then model pilot. Yeah. And I kind of took it on from there and started to create planes with some guys. And all of a sudden we are having this scale glider company.
Incredible. And you're creating them from complete scratch, from brand new?
Pretty much from full scratch. So there's quite a few people involved in terms of computer designing, aerodynamic designing, and composite work, of course. And I'm more or less holding the strengths together and delivering them according to customers' wishes and so on.
Fantastic. Any idea how many you've produced so far, Daniel?
Actually, we were chatting about that last winter, and we really have no clue, but a few hundreds for sure, yeah.
Well, you actually opened our show last week with your 27 Dianas all together there at one place. Tell me about that event.
So the idea got created. Basically, we had some customers which were asking how many Dianas there are around. And I thought it's a great opportunity to get all the pilots together to kind of share the experience and so on and be able to fly with each other. So that's how we created this event. And then 27 guys showed up. I mean, we made that event quickly. So I could imagine that we can reach over 50 quite easily next time.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. Do you compete as well, Daniel?
Yes, there's this GPS racing class with scale gliders, which I'm pretty much fully into it. And that's pretty much what we do during the European summer.
Is it similar to the Sailplane Grand Prix on the full size, or is it a different event? Different style?
Quite similar. So we are racing with the GPS inside the plane around the triangle course. Everything is on vision, of course. And we are starting in a time window of 10 minutes up to 13 pilots. And then whoever makes the most laps in 30 minutes time wins.
So tell me how you get airborne. Are they powered paragliders?
Yeah, there's two kind of disciplines or three kind of disciplines. There's one which you tow the gliders up like in real. And then we also have self-launch versions where I have propellers or jets, electric jets, fans, which bring them up any kind of to fly. And we fly in above 500 meters above the ground. And there's kind of a window gate like at the Grand Prix. And then we fly in, and from there on it's happening, yeah.
Incredible. How long have you been competing then? When did it start for you?
I've been competing. I started in 2015. Basically, we had the glider made for this kind of class in advance. And I back then was still really into competition and windsurfing competitions. And I always kind of had to get feedback from pilots how the planes perform and so on. And I thought I have to be doing it myself to actually be able to say a word about how my planes go. So I started racing myself, basically.
And how long were you competing in windsurfing?
Windsurfing, since I'm a little kid, like since 12, 15. I'm still doing some races, like my favorite ones. And I still work as a product manager in a windsurfing company.
Really?
Yeah, that's my main job. And then beside, I'm doing these scale planes and race them as much as I can, of course.
Incredible, fascinating, beautiful. Just looking at the one behind you there, just talk me through a little bit about the production how the process goes with the production, how you start. And
So the production pretty much there's kind of sizes, scale down sizes. So the racing class we are flying, the models are always 1 to 3, so 3 times smaller than the original. And basically, the little bit older models are a bit better in terms of taking the wing load. So like my model at the moment I'm flying is a ASW 17, which has a really deep core of wing, so that's really good. And then for slope flying or just fun flying, I would say like in the mountains like we do, those 1 to 3.5, that's the ones behind me, they are like 4 to 5 meter wingspan. This is kind of the things people like the most, I would say.
We're finding recently a lot of crossovers with different air sports, especially with the drone FPVs are following skydivers and base jumpers and wingsuiters. Have you had any FPV pilots with drones around the gliders?
Yeah, we try always to get some footage of it. Like you can check on our YouTube channel, the Chocofly one. There is some video where we follow the gliders in the mountains. It's not as easy to follow with the drone, but I have some friends which are quite good pilots, so that's quite easy.
Wow, it's incredible, isn't it? And what was it like for you in 2020? I suppose you didn't really do much, no? With the COVID?
We try to do a little bit more online because normally we of course meet together, and we were supposed to have a world championship last year of course as well, but we created kind of online events where you were able to upload your flights. Of course you cannot really have like a real competition result at the end of the day, and during summer we even were able to have a few races because we can stand quite distanced on the airfield, so that kind of worked out. But of course, also not like we used to, let's say.
Yes. What's happening with the World Championships then?
So we had the last World Championship in 2019 with the scale gliders. And then there is a sports glider GPS World Championship was supposed to be 2020. And now we just moved it to 2021. So it would be in August, I would say.
Where's that going to be, Daniel?
That's in the south of Germany, in Grübingen, it's called. It's a real glider airfield, and the inscription is now open again, and there is like 39 people get allowed to compete, and it's by country, so every country has 5 different pilots. 5 pilots can compete, and if there is more, then the list will just extend.
In competition, how many races would you do a day? 2 or 1?
No, as they are like 30 minutes each, the race, we do like, I would say 5 races a day,
right.
Something like that. And you're always flying in a team. So you have a co-pilot, which is studying the tactics from the others. And in the next race, he's flying and you're kind of his coach. So that's quite exciting. So you always kind of work in a team. And it's really exciting. I mean, you can also have a look on YouTube a little bit about GPS racing. There is some channels about it, and also from the World Championship 2019, which was held in Spain. That was really incredible. We had 12 nations, I think, racing, and it was great.
Whereabouts was that? Where in Spain was it?
There was on the flying range in Tortosa. That's a little bit like in. Everybody was driving there from here, and also some guys from South Africa, US, of course, they were coming by plane. And it's great airfield for a race like that. And it's amazing. Like you cannot imagine how many scale planes there were on this field. Like we had 40 competitors and everybody had kind of 2 models. So you can imagine it was quite incredible.
I mean, the Diana's quite famous, the Polish make there, everybody's aware of that. Do you have many other types competing?
Basically, as a model, radio controlled model, the Diana is pretty much the perfect plane in terms of long fuselage and wing distribution. So we have this one in 4 different sizes. And beside this, you pretty much, not all the originals are made to be good as models. I think some planes like the Diana are even better as models as in real.
Wow.
And that's how you choose. I mean, we have so much experience that you kind of know which planes work or not, and you do every few years kind of a new model to keep it attractive, right?
Do you have any crossover from the full-size competitors down to the scale model? Do you have people competing in your...
Yes. Of course, there's some scale pilots, and actually sometimes when I meet some real glide pilots and they look at our models, they can actually not believe what's happening, because technology-wise, like my World Championship model, the AS317, has a water tank as well, which I can release water to keep the wing load up and low, and also the technology is everything fully composite, full carbon sandwich construction. It's really high end, and if you don't know what's actually happening and you walk towards one of those models, if you're a real pilot or even a spectator from somewhere else, you will be like, are they crazy?
Yeah.
Which we are.
How long does it take to produce one? And is it one person working on one model, or is there a few of you doing different parts? Or?
Yes, there's kind of, we have several productions, and there's always kind of one or two guys producing one plane. And it's really not like you push a button and then the plane is ready. They're building like, if they're like two guys, they're building like 2 a month, something like that.
Oh, really?
And then there's other guys which put all the electronic parts inside, which also takes around, I would say a month again. So it's quite incredible how much time that all takes. But there's a huge fan base of pilots, and you order your plane kind of in advance. You kind of need like a year to get one if you want one. So
oh, incredible.
It always kind of takes a little bit.
Yeah, that's quite a long waiting list, isn't it? Tell us about some of your favorite events or competitions, Daniel, that you've been part of.
I mean, we have this European tour, which is quite famous for the racing. And then, I really love like World Championships, because everybody gets together. I mean, if you're talking those days, it's quite difficult to imagine, but the spirit which goes through with having all the nations and all the guys behind it, and they are as much into it as I am myself. And like all the sporting events, you get an amazing atmosphere, and this is incredible, and that's what we like. And of course the racing, I'm quite competitive guy, so I like to race, but I also, of course, you cannot always win, so it's also always great to see any other guy winning. Like, you can always learn.
Who's the top 4 or 5 at the moment then in competition?
There's a few German guys which are really, really good, and there's this, you know how it is. It's like in Formula One, it's always kind of the same guys. I would say that over the last few years, there has been Philipp Kolb, always world champion. This is kind of an icon of our sport in gliding. And then actually the World Championship in 2019 was the first time which somebody else won. So there was a German producer of models. It's called Florian Schambeck. He's also very famous in doing scale models. He won the self-launching discipline, and I won the glider discipline.
And what's next for you then? Now February and March, anything happening? Or
yeah, like it's also quite hard to imagine, but we're actually quite excited to spring to arrive, as we are still here in winter, and I can see it on my email inbox as well. The guys are starting to get hungry, and I mean, we don't know yet when we can start to compete in races again. Of course, we do have a calendar, but I mean, we take it from there. Otherwise, we can still go fly on our own. So as soon as the spring is coming, for glider pilots, thermals are very exciting. So in spring, it's going to be an awesome time, I hope.
One story we covered last week, which blew my mind, was that speed record, 540 kilometers an hour or something like that, up in the mountains in the States.
Yes, I saw that one, of course, from Spencer. I congratulated him as well. I mean, the speed is one thing. To create this plane is already absolutely incredible. The speed, we don't need to talk, it's another league. But I tell you, the flying skills of that guy is incredible. I have no idea how he's able, deepest respect of this. This is an amazing achievement. And I cannot even imagine somebody getting close to it, because you know how it is. You see something online and you push on it and you're like, oh yeah, it's quite nice, but it's incredible. I mean, it's really outstanding, I would say.
Tell me a little bit about it. What was actually happening? I mean, the stresses on the airframe must have been intense.
The thing is, like, you know, piloting that plane with vision only, it's something you have to learn over decades, I would say. A good pilot, I mean, you know how it is. I'm a long time in business, so you go on the airfield and you see somebody flying and you say, this is a good pilot or this is not as good pilot. But in particular, in that speed range, that record got made to steer that plane in the right direction. It's magic. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So what's next for you then? Have you got something in the calendar?
Yeah, I mean, we did like this year would be now this World Championship was supposed to be last year, of course, happening. And there is a GPS class called the sports class, which is a model which is up to 5 meters, but it's not a copy of a real one. It's absolutely like, how is it called?
The original.
Kind of just, how would I say it?
Is it
3D kind of stuff.
Or an original design, which is not a copy?
It's a design not from a real glider. It's something from scratch, which is just about performance.
Interesting.
So it's a bit more slick design. So it's not coding like a scale plane. And all the pilots pretty much have similar models, I would say. And we designed a new model, which I was supposed to only fly myself at the World Championship. So I was hoping you know how it is with Formula One, you kind of have a little bit of advantage. Yeah. But as we were not able to race, I kind of had to decide what I do because the production was actually ready to be run. And all my best friends, of course, they ordered one of those models. So kind of now I released it to the market, and this year pretty much all the top pilots will fly it. So I had to change the strategy into winning myself into get our plane to win, I would say.
Fantastic. And what you're doing actually now, today and tomorrow and over the next few days, what are you involved in?
We're just kind of planning productions. There are some guys working at the molds and stuff to delivery every month. Of course, delivering at the moment is also not as easy with all the borders closed, but we just do what we can, and we do a little bit of R&D work. There's always something happening, I would say.
Fantastic. Well, Daniel, it's been a real pleasure to catch up with you and find out
Thank you very much.
more about this sport of yours. And if you don't mind, we'll come back to you in the springtime and just have a catch up and see how it's going for you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.